Greetings and salutations. If you're new to the channel, I want to thank you for stopping by. My name is Eric Moss. I'm a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and modern-day performing strongman. If you're unfamiliar with what a modern-day performing strongman is picture the strongmen of old like the mighty Adam and Alexander Zas. They would perform feats of strength as part of a live show. I do a similar sort of style to that, but with a modern day twist. Some of the feats of strength you might find in my show would be things like bending steel bars, breaking chains, rolling up frying pans, twisting horseshoes, driving nails to wooden boards by hand, and every so often holding back a motorcycle. Now, being a modern day performing strongman, I know that people have questions for me, and in an effort to generate content for my YouTube channel and spread the gospel on strength, let people know that performing strongman is still a thing. In fact, by the time I upload this video, I should be on my way, or I'll be on my way soon to Kansas City to perform for the Jeep's annual conference. Now, so I know that you guys have questions for me, and I started a YouTube series called Ask Eric Moss, where I would invite you to ask me a question by dropping it in the comments below. And when you do that, I get back to you with your very own customized video. Pretty cool, right? So this question comes from Wilson Perez, and they said, "Hello, how do I know that I am doing the isometric exercises well? I am also confused by the great diversity of ranges of movement. Is it necessary to do all of them?" Thank you for asking that. Now, this is kind of a multi-part question, so I'm going to try to address them first. Like many things, or individually first, like many things when it comes to this stuff, the answer is it depends. It depends on what it is that you're trying to get out of it. Now, for me, I use the isometrics to generate strength, to train pure strength without any attention to hypertrophy unless it's absolutely necessary for building strength. Now, for something like an iso chain, which is how a lot of you, I think, found me, was for my directions on how I built my iso chain, you can measure strength simply by picking up a crane scale that would measure the poundages. If the poundage is getting stronger or getting heavier, it means that you're getting stronger. That's a way to gauge progress. Now, if you're not using it with an iso chain, and if you're using it with like exercise or specific to the feats of strength like what I do, basically you would return to a feat of strength that you struggled with, and if you can get it, it means that you have made progress. If you don't get it, it means that you've got a bit more work to do. Now, as for the different movements and the ranges of motion, well, as far as like all of the different movements, there is any number of different kinds of things that you can do with isometrics. And your body only has so much adaptive capacity to be able to train and adapt to each one by getting stronger. So what I do, if I was to create an isometric-based training program for someone that is just after general strength, I would pick an upper body push, an upper body pull, a hip dominant movement, and a deep knee dominant movement. I got those things. It's generally a balanced program. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything else, but it doesn't mean that you need to do anything else either, unless it's specific applications like what I use it for. Now, going back to that general strength program, or I should say, going back to my program, with the isometrics, and as far as like changing the range of motion, I personally don't need to change the range of motion, because like with a horseshoe, it's a very short distance that the thing is actually moving. I don't need to train myself out here or all the way at the end or whatever. I need to train in the ranges that are specific to the feats of strength that I'm performing, that is where the adaptations that I am specifically looking for are going to be happening. And adaptations outside that is not really of interest to me. Now, going back to that balance training program with like an iso chain, yes, you would want to train multiple ranges, because with isometrics, one of the reasons it kind of came under fire over the years is that your greatest strength gains tend to be very specific to the joint angle. I think it's like 20, 30 degrees either way of the joint angle, which means if all you train is here, then down here is not going to be getting much of a training effect. That's not to say that it doesn't get any training effect. It's just not going to get as much as up here. Now, with the way isometrics work, and basically as a general rule of training, is your body can adapt relatively quickly to isometrics, which is why I came out with that video, why you need to change it up every 6 to 8 weeks. Everything works for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then it stops working. So in order to create a little bit of variety within the program, as well as maximize your strength in various ranges, you would want to hit it down here. You would want to hit it up here as well. And that goes for just about all of them. With the overhead press, there tends to be a sticking point that would happen about eye level. That would be where the majority of your training would come in, but you would also want to train up here, and you'd want to also train up here to get a bit of variety as well as remain very strong throughout the entire movement. And that can go with like just about any amount of exercises that are done with an iso chain or done with pushing and pulling against immovable objects that aren't specific to the feats of strength like what I do in my show. But I hope that answers your question. If anybody else has any questions, drop it in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you with your very own custom video. But that is it for today. In the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.